Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
Leg out. Hey everybody, how you doing? I am in sunny Southern California and I am rearing to go, except for it started raining right now, and that's kind of hard because my job as a window cleaner depends on clear weather. So what do? I just leave and I just tell all the customers, hey, I did the job, and send a bill, and voila. Checks come in the mail 30 days later. Nobody says anything. Nobody complains. And that's why I am a multi-millionaire, because I got it all figured out. Except for the part that I bill people and they just send me the invoice when I don't do the work. Because the only time I get paid usually is when it's hard. And I get paid more when it's harder. And I get help, and my help loves it when everything's easy. When it's hard, they don't tend to work as fast, and there's more problems the harder things get. So my lesson today is, if you want to make money, work harder and get guys and be more stressed out. Usually that's what happens when you're in I'm in a high rent district, I guess you'd call it. And so the guys that come and apply tend to be people that can't afford to have a family, have a nice house, have everything together, because it's too expensive. So usually the ones that are kind of around the high rent districts tend to be the people that have a bunch of roommates with issues, or live with their parents, or their wife's working and they're on the couch, type of deal. So be careful what you ask for. It's weird because I have a sister company. It's my cousin. As I pull out in front of a truck, I have a sister company, and my cousin has probably like 8 or 9 trucks, and he has no problem getting people, or a lesser problem getting people. And I liken it to the fact that the rent's cheap, so people go out there, they have their head on straight because they have a wife, kids, everything's kind of going normal, and then they need a job to pay for it. You can't really do that in Orange County because it's very expensive. So it's just an interesting side note. It's not 100%. I think if I put everything on that, like my success is dependent on the type of how good of a recruiter I am, and it's not working out, so I'm going to blame the employees. Well, I'm a horrible boss, because ultimately it's my fault. So if it's a problem, it's not whether it's not whether it's a problem or not, but it's okay, now am I willing to do the work to fix it? And I think over the years, you'll hear me say, I've always kind of studied, is it worth fixing? And it doesn't make one a loser, I found out. If you don't take on a lot, it makes you sound. Because in the past, I've kind of proved to myself everything. And look, here's how a lot of people get in trouble, and including myself, is you want to challenge yourself. Golf, it's a very popular sport, probably one of the most popular sports. The reason why is you don't need 4 people to, hey, let's go play a pickup game of baseball. You just need to go out there by yourself, and you could challenge yourself, and you can't ever really be 100% successful because you're always trying to outdo yourself, and you're going to ebb and flow. And I used to do that with a lot of jobs. I would take impossible jobs, big, giant jobs, and I just would not back down. Even bidding some of these jobs were monsters, and you got to turn them in, and it's a lot of them were the what the hell is it called? The prevailing wages, where you're paying somebody like $50 an hour, but trying to be competitive, and then you turn it in, and then you try to do it and try to make money. A lot of the big colleges I do were at the very beginning a little daunting, even though I had experience. Because I've been doing this for a long time, it was still a challenge. But I kind of challenge myself in most aspects. Like if I'm doing something that's, like if I'm on my dirt bike, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a hill that's unclimbable. Oh yeah, I'll show you. Smash forward to the doctor showing me the x-rays of my broken 3 ribs, I think, broken back, torn up knee. And what's interesting about the knee is they're saying, oh, you need surgery. And I listened to some of my customers, and they said, hey, don't touch the knee, for as long as you can. And the doctor too, and one of them, and lo and behold, my knee healed perfect. It just needed more time. So anytime you need a surgery, just wait. I know surgery is getting good, but the healing mechanism, if it's intact and it could work, it's a great mechanism as well. And though God does gift surgeons, and we live in a great place where we could pick and choose what we want to do. So I have all these things that I used to be like, okay, I got to make as much money as I can with as many people, and I just kind of decided, no, I'm gonna turn it back. I could still make more than a living, and I don't have a lot of the stresses that I used to have. So I think that's just a place that I wouldn't have gone if I didn't challenge myself and ultimately beat all my challenge, or at least I lived up to my challenge. I showed up to everyone and did it. So now I don't have to prove anything. So I don't feel like a loser per se if I'm not doing a certain job. Let's say I say to hell with it. I don't want to hire a bunch of people for a certain job because it's not worth the stress. And it did take me to do that. So yeah, I'm smart now for not stressing myself out more than I have to. But if I was more wise, I think along the way, maybe I could have said, look, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I could let these things pass. But maybe it's a mixture of both. Maybe the fact that I did do those things and pulled a lot of them off. I do have more war stories. So now that I do regular buildings, regular big homes, they're easy and stress-free, probably because I'm comparing it to the big stuff I did. Kind of like when I'm training guys and I want to get used to them dealing with heights. And I have a saying, if you want to get somebody over the fear of climbing a 24 or a 12-foot ladder, what I would do is I would have them climb a 40-foot ladder. And they'll be scared, their knees will shake. I'll probably be a little worried too, because every time somebody gets hurt, my insurance goes up. And at that height, I'd be lucky if they just got hurt. So, especially if I wasn't shaking the ladder. So once they make it to the top, yeah, they're scared, but they get down, and now the 12 and the 24 don't seem like a huge deal. And it's kind of what I wanted to talk about today is kind of like the helicopter parenting and the people that are afraid to do anything. And is it enlightened, or like, are we smart as a nation because everything is overinsured and everybody's overprotected? I was talking to James today driving back, and I was saying that what's interesting is you have the younger crowd versus the problem is with as old timers, and I'm in the 40 plus club now. So got my salt and pepper beard going, so I feel like I achieved something. I'm still around, especially with all the shenanigans I did growing up. So we're trying to be like, hey, we're the wise ones, learn from us. But then the guys coming up are like, well, no, because we know a lot of stuff. And I thought about, did I hear this somewhere or did I think of it? No, I think I heard it from, of course, it's a good point. Of course, I didn't think of it. That Gary V was saying that, we tend to say, hey, kids cannot communicate nowadays. And yes, it's true. If I go into a waiting room, I want to talk to people like, hey, how long have you lived here? Boy, this area sure changed over the years, hasn't it? And if my son comes in, he sits down and he doesn't talk to him. He just stares at his video game. I say, what a shame. There's a story that you did not hear, and because you're staring at your video game. But in all these video games, guess what? They're chatting. And I was thinking about it, and I'm kind of going on the heels of what Gary was saying is it's a different form of communication. They still communicate, they just communicate differently. And now us as old timers, we need to adapt as well as they need to adapt. It's the truth somewhere in the middle. I think a really wise guy will take what's working for them and what worked for us and mince them. And otherwise, you're going to be that person that's just always sitting around complaining about the good old days. And guess what? If they were so good, we wouldn't have evolved. So we want to get better. So I do tend to say, all right, cool. We'll take what you're doing, but you have to sprinkle and dust what we've done and what we've seen that works, if you're wise. Of course, you could just go hook, line, and sinker to what everybody's doing, but you're just going to be probably below average, because doing what's perfectly safe and what's perfectly proven tends to not pay perfectly, unless you want to do the perfect minimum wage. You'll be right there. You won't be a penny above it. Because hey, people will trade their freedom for security and the chance to make more money for security. So I think if you're using some of these wise things that we did, and then you mix it with today's technology, it should pay more, because you are going to achieve more, and you'll be doing more than the guy next to you that's just like, no, I'm just going to do it my way. And that's on both sides. So I do feel like we do need to bridge the gap between, the people coming up and the people that have been there. There is a big void. And to show you how big that void is, like my grandma, she's in her 90s. And if you think about it, it's like, not only did these people grow up without a cell phone, these people grew up without TVs. My grandma, she's still alive in Utah. She and her parents, I would guess in the 30s, built their house. They're pretty much driving, and I think pretty much where the car broke down. That's just where they built the house. And when they built the house, it wasn't like, all right, I'm going to call this excavating company, square me out a lot, and then we're going to get the best framer in town. No, I can't afford the best. We'll just get a framer and frame, and then, we'll put up the electrical, plumbing, and put on a roof, drywaller, and stucco paint, windows. I'll do the windows. I'm going to save a little money. No, this was, okay, now you're here. Now you need to build. Oh, first you got to get money to build. So we got to build a tent first. My grandma built a tent with her dad and mom, and they started building around the tent. So the tent was up for them to sleep in, and it was in Utah, and it's not the warmest winter, so you had a small window to do this. So you start building around your tent, and then you add on, and then guess what? The house is still there today. She lives in it today. So it's